Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today, in this video, I will show you how we are going to integrate artificial intelligence or the LLM model from DeepSeek. We are actually going to integrate it with n8n, especially with an AI agent. The goal is for it to update our database with up-to-date information. And also it will work. Everything related to sending emails, everything that is updated on my WordPress site. So I will detail in this training how we will use the very latest version of DeepSeek, the one we call today 3.1 with the reference 0324. Really, it's an intelligence that, when I compare it with the ChatGPT model, really, the quality of the results and the article that will be written with this tool is really of very, very high quality. So in the training, I will first show you how to actually install this workflow on your n8n, and then I will explain in detail the flow of information and how to run such a system to improve and boost our production. DeepSeek has really improved the quality of its LLM model. You will see when we compare it with the latest version, we can clearly see, according to the benchmarks, that the new system has proven itself well. So this system, it has been better, especially in terms of writing, coding, programming. And that's why today, we are going to try to use it on to n8n. So to simply gain access to DeepSeek, you will see that we actually need to go to the DeepSeek platform. So even on Google, we can type platform DeepSeek. We will find ourselves on this page. So this page, in fact, will allow us to create what we call the DeepSeek API. And of course, we will need a small balance to work with this API. You will see that really it is not expensive. We can just have a balance, for example, of $5. And that for me is more than enough to work for a month on my workflow system. So this system, you will see that here it triggers every hour to write a new article for me and publish it on my WordPress site. And so as a result, at $5 it's already sufficient, in fact, to work all for me, for myself. So here you will simply add a small balance once it's done. You will click here on API keys, and then you will simply click here to create your new API key. That's all. So thanks to this key, you will see that there on the workflow we can connect directly. In fact, the artificial intelligence of DeepSeek in chat mode, that one is simply going to be our system. Of course, I will show you later another model that is also very interesting. What is the DeepSeek LLM? That one also allows us to actually use DeepSeek. Because sometimes you will see that we found that DeepSeek, sometimes it can actually block the addition of balance. So that's why I advise you, as the CEO over today at the time of filming this video, today DeepSeek allows us to use its API. So if it ever doesn't work, there is a second alternative. It's simply to go to the OpenRouter website. So the site is openrouter.ai. And on this site, you will simply be able to click here and add a credit. So here, quite simply, you add $2 to $5. And once the credit is added, well, obviously here there is a minimum actually. When you add, it will start with 5. That's the minimum. But once you have added a credit here, when you go to keys, you will see that there you can, of course, add your key. Not to mention that OpenRouter also allows you to create an n8n, actually use a free key. That means when I click here, I can create a key, and at the level of n8n, if I come back here, you will see there, I have the possibility to work with site, even the latest version, whether it's a version, in fact, let's say a version, free. But of course, it won't give me a very good result. In terms of speed, it is very, very slow. So, as a result, for me, I prefer to spend $2 to $3 to invest them for a month and work with a paid version, because here you will see, if I go to select the model, we will reload the page. Connection problem. So we will try to click a second time. There you go. So here, look, when I search for DeepSeek, and so there I select this version. But if I simply type free, you will see that there, obviously, it can offer me free systems. So here we will search for DeepSeek free. You will find it, but we will type it directly. DeepSeek free. Otherwise, we will type 3 we will do it again. There you go. So here, I can find a free version. There it is, actually. Look at this. It's a free version of the entire latest version of DeepSeek. But working with this version, it will be very slow. So as a result, it will waste a lot of your time. So for me, I prefer to go for the version. This one, for example, the paid version. So as a result, if you look here, I have the option to work directly with DeepSeek or alternatively use OpenRouter, which will actually provide me not only with DeepSeek, but several others. However, its API is always available, always accessible, and I prefer to work with DeepSeek. If ever the balance is not available here, then I choose Psych on OpenRouter so that I am at ease because I know I can always purchase balance here. So, here is a brief introduction regarding the LLM model that we are going to use. But I would like to do a little recap actually on why we want to actually use our LLM system for content reduction in an intelligence-based system. AI, especially with an AI agent. So, generally when working with an LLM model, as we see here, so whether it's ChatGPT or Psyche or Queen, or any model, even with Grok, for example, we always, as users, provide an input. That means we work with the chat, we ask it. In fact, at the input level, we provide it with information, either questions or a file to analyze. And this system, it will actually use its model, of artificial intelligence, of analysis. And what will it do? It will try to produce what we call an output. And this output generally is in the form of text or a table where we can copy it, download it and reuse it or publish it or so on. If it generates a code for me, that code, of course, I will use it on another editor to run it. So then actually we had the emergence of the AI agent. So what is the AI agent? It's a little bit, of course, if I look at my system, it's this one. The agent is simply there as well. It will receive the same input, the triggering question. So there are the data. In fact, where it will work on these dates in LA, it will actually use an LM, and it was the same there. Of course, we can choose ourselves which one is the same it will use, or when you see there. Here, for example, I called upon DeepSeek 6 just as I can call upon other LLMs. And when it actually produces an output, that's it. In fact, what's most significant is simply that it has tools there, and it can use those tools. To perform other actions, it can use 1, 2, 3, or even 5 at the same time. And those tools are simply, it's about sending that content via email. It's about saving it in a database. It's about writing on a website because, in fact, the model is comfortable with it. Its work stops when it provides you with the output, when it responds to your request. And that's why here, the agent, it has this brain, and then it makes decisions to call upon. Of course, to those voices, to tools that will. There you go, which are, in a way, software connected from the outside and even inside. In fact, from this agent, we will create what we actually call a spring. So here in this system, it has that, in fact, what we call a plan, meaning instructions. Where it has a goal, we actually give it steps to follow, objectives. And from that plan, it will be independent or have a certain freedom, in fact, to make decisions, to choose which tool it will use. And above all, it will fill in a lot of information about these tools in an intelligent way. That means it's not me who will manually fill in the email address or search for other data. And that, in fact, is something we can't really find in traditional workflows. There are workflows today that we often use with the team Make. In these workflows, we are required to define certain information, certain variables. We have to point them out. But here I say, help me, the subject, the description, the information, as you see there, the message, the subject. And even to the person where I'm going to send it, I let the AI decide because I'm going to give it to them. Of course, all the information we take, we will explain it. And we can go much further. In fact, especially with the emergence of models we call MCP. These models, MCP, actually have the ability to understand databases, as you see there. And once they understand the databases, it's the artificial intelligence that does the configuration. It's the AI that chooses the tool. For example, if I say Notion, we have several actions on Notion. We can update the database, we can delete rows, we can add columns. All of this before we had to define it action by action. But today, artificial intelligence, with its new packages, its new models, MCP, it has the capability and strength to know all possible actions with multiple software, multiple servers. And that gives us a system that is quite powerful, that it is capable of working for us. It's really, when we say it's an agent, it truly is an agent. That means it's like we can say a virtual assistant. There, it has a mission, it can really work on it. Especially, look there, it is available. There, I can even ask it to be available every 30 minutes, every day. We can really define multiple pieces of information regarding this system. And this system can really go very far. In terms of its development, now we are simply going to download this entire workflow. I will provide you with a file where you can import it and simply use the same workflow. So I'm going to click here to download it. I will put the link to download this file in the description of this video. But first of all, of course, you need an n8n environment. This means you simply need to have a registration on an n8n server to be able to deploy all this. And especially to also install the MCP, because our system requires the installation of MCP. I will show you. So these are quite simple steps. I will also give you the direct link to Hostinger. So here, this is a special link that actually allows you to install n8n. You will click here, so there are several types of packages, but the one I'm interested in is this one, in fact, which gives you 2 processors. So this one, it is very powerful. It allows you to deploy all the workflows. And especially, in fact, thanks to this, we can have unlimited workflows, which is very, very interesting. Because here, if I come into the settings, you will see that I have the possibility of having an unlimited account, and that is important. This means that I can activate multiple workflows at the same time and create as many as I want. So once I have selected here, it's simple. We will simply set the server choice here. So if you're in France, choose the France server, as it is the closest. And regarding the operating system, there's no need to register anything here. Do not select anything. You will do this in the next step, and you will simply click on continue. But before that, I am also giving you a discount coupon. So it's a coupon, Dr. Firas, like this DRFIRAS. You click on apply and you will see that it will give you yet another discount. There you go. So now we have another discount. Now we will go to 629 euros per month. So that's very, very interesting. And I click on continue. And now I will simply proceed to make the payment and move directly to the server configuration step. n8n and the MCP, of course. So right after the payment, we will be here in this interface to start configuring our server. You will first choose the physical location of your server. You will find several locations. Personally, I choose France since I have clients in France. So as a result, it is very optimized for traffic management. I select continue. And here it's very important. In fact, you will find several types of servers. What interests me is this one actually. It's the n8n. You can simply type n8n here and you will find that server. If I then select this server, obviously it will tell me that it will work with the Ubuntu 24.04 version, which is the very latest version, and I click on select. Here it suggested adding what is called a system of malware, which is simply an antivirus that will protect the server from attacks and anything related to injection. So here I will activate it, it's free. And then I will create my account with my login and password. So here I choose a login and password. I can click here to use automatic generation. And here it's the name of my server. You will copy this information and also copy your password information to a secure place because you will need it when we connect later with SSH to our server. So then I click on continue. It will take a few moments to complete the installation and server configuration. Generally it's quick, let's say. In about 3 minutes you will find your VPS configuration ready to be deployed. So you just need to wait for the installation to finish successfully. And well, now I can directly access to configure my VPS. Here, there are the SSH accesses. which are actually very interesting to copy. So here we see the copies in a secure place with the login password and there. You also have the option to have a custom domain name to access your VPS server. Of course, you can click here and select the domain name that interests you when you see there. So, starting from €4, you can even find it for less than €2 and even less than €1. There. It's a choice. In fact, you can do it whenever you want to give a direct name to your VPS and to access now to do the final configuration. So here I click on VPS and you will see that there I can simply click to access my server. This is a small form, so we can simply skip it and go directly to manage. Application, so I click here. There, I need to define an email with which I will access my n8n, as well as a username where you put your first name, last name, and your password here and activate it here. In fact, if you actually want to receive updates, otherwise you will click on Next. And there you go, now I'm on my interface. There is the possibility here to click there to actually receive a free lifetime license key to unlock the additional features and functionalities. Here, I click on Send me a free license key to receive this free key in my email inbox. And off we go. So now I'm on my n8n interface, where I can create my different scenarios and manage everything related to workflow on this interface here. So now we have finished the installation and configuration of n8n. So here, I actually have access to my key, which I would have received by email. You just needed to copy this code or click on Activate Sky Scenes to enable it. And so I simply went to City, here in the settings. And you will see that here in the usage and plan, of course, I have an unlimited number of workflows. That's what's very interesting. And also I can simply receive everything that is paid feature by entering my key here. So here I will click to add the key, not forgetting that this will actually save me from subscribing to paid plans. So I come here, click on Enter Key, and then I will simply copy paste my key. And once my key is entered, I will simply click here on Activate. And there you go, the license has just been added successfully. So now I can simply use and work with the system without any problem. So I have 100% set up an n8n account with an unlimited number of workflows on a server that is hosted on hosting, and I can launch it. We have seen how we could optimize the installation of n8n and be able to run and work with all the scenarios and workflows at a lower cost with, of course, a performant server that can support the different scenarios. So once we have access to our interface, what we will do is click here to create a new workflow. So here it's going to be a simple workflow, so let's do it. As a trigger, we will just put the chat here so that it can launch the trigger. And here we are going to place an MCP. So you will see when I click here and type MCP, you will see that I have the module. But how do you add that module? So to add that module, I will go here into the settings. Of course, I save this, I will go to settings, and I will go to this part, attention, it's the community nodes. And here I will click here to add the name of my n with n. In fact, code. So to do it, you will see that here I will go to this website. So this is the NPM site, gs.com. You will find, of course, the information from this site here. So in the documentation, that's it. In fact, here rather, it's this one. So here I will simply type, if I go back to the home page, if I type MCP, I press enter. You will see that. So this is the server. In fact, where I will download and set up the system. So here there is information regarding the MCP nodes. So I just copy the title and you will see that here. So in my server, I go back to my server's interface. I will type this, click on it and save, but be careful before clicking on install. I absolutely needed to install a few command lines because these command lines will allow my server to be able to actually install everything that is npm. Is a package. Look here, it says npm package. And for it to work, you will see that I have actually put here some lines of code that actually allow you to install all this information. So here, this first part is a section that shows you step by step how to actually install my server n8n and make it accessible in MCP mode and accept other packages. So to do it is very simple. I will guide you step by step. So I simply go back here to Hostinger, obviously on my server. Here, VPS. And this time I will click on Browser, Terminal, so it will take me to the section Terminal, where I will enter via SSH, where I can simply run some lines of code here. So you will see that here when I request it. What is the version of my command? npm, because it's thanks to this that I can run code, so I will enter npm v, you will see. When I run it, it will show me that I have the version. In fact, it means it is well installed, so for me, it's okay. If you don't find this version installed, or sometimes it might even tell you that npm is not installed, you will simply go here and copy this first command line. You will simply paste it here, and it will start the installation for you. Of course, for me, it's already done. It's already installed. But for you, if it's the first time you're doing it, it will install it for you. Once that's done, you will also need to install what is called Node. So here, I'm going to copy and paste the same thing here. So this is for Node. First, for Node, to install it, it's this command line that allows you to install Node. But for me, I'm just going to check the version. I should have version 20, so we'll see. Indeed, I have version 20. So if it gives you another version that is not version 20, because you will need the very latest version, this one, it will actually allow you to use the MCP separately. But if you are going to use the MCP within an AI agent, you must follow this procedure. I have detailed for you how to update my MCP model. You will find the steps here well explained. You just need to run these 2 lines of code. Once you check the node version, you will find that it updates to version 20. Here, my system is ready. So I can simply return to my interface. And here, if I go back to my scenario, if I click here, if I type MCP, you will see that it will be available and it will be installed. Of course, here, when I run the install of my node here, it will accept it. You will find that the name must be installed correctly. When I press the install button, this means that it cannot be functional unless the node n and m are installed on my server, and thanks to this hosting, I can install them easily. In fact, with SSH. Now we will import our workflow. You click here to import the workflow, and you will see that you will choose to import from a file. Once I select here, I will simply go to my computer and select. Here is the file in question that we just downloaded. And there you go, I have the workflow, and it's operational. Of course, if it's you, you will do it. The first time, it will ask you to make the API connections, which is completely normal, because it will cross-reference the different tools, n8n and nodes. It will ask you to create your connection, which is normal, because it's the first time you will be using this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is try, of course, to read my system and execute it. So what does reading my system involve? At the beginning, you will see that here I have a trigger, which means a trigger point where it will monitor a database that is on Notion. So here, if I go back here, here is my database. I can refresh it like this. This database, which is on Notion, if I ever add a line to this database, what will happen? The system will trigger. And on our system, on this database, you will see that it will, of course, check this database every hour. But of course, you can change it. So you will change it according to the time that suits you. If you want it to check every day or every 3 days, it depends on your needs. We have a small system where I have actually set variables. There I have triggered variables. This means that the email address, for example, I will simply define it here. Well, I put a test email address because if I ever want to change the email address where I will receive the email, I just change it. Here I don't touch the code and it's the same thing. Regarding the database, I actually provided the ID of the database. And there, in fact, it's a dynamic variable for that one. In fact, it will capture the information from the new row that has just been detected in my database. Every time there is a new row, it will be dynamically added here. Then, the system will send the information here to the artificial intelligence, to that agent. That agent, when it receives it, has a prompt here, which we will see in detail later. What will this prompt do? It will first write an article based on the topic it retrieved here. So here, we will just add a topic. Like here, for example, I will just put a topic, some keywords, there you go. And it will create a topic, it will create content, and it will publish it on the website. So as a result, these steps, you will see that in my agent here, it will then publish it on WordPress, send it via email. And of course, it will update all the information in the database. And all of this, it called upon DeepSeek to have DeepSeek do this work. So let's go. We are going to test our system. Before clicking on test workflow, what I'm going to do is simply go here to the database. All right. So we are going to try to add a line to the database. Add a topic where I want the system to work on that topic. So of course I can add several. And the system, each time it checks, when it finds new lines, it will start doing the work. So it's just for that one. So if I come here, then of course, we will look at the email inbox. So this is the test email inbox. Here we will receive the message. Here as well, the website. So normally, if I have a new post, it should be displayed here. And of course, not forgetting that the database must be filled with the remaining information. Here we go. So I come here, I click test workflow. I have, of course, the DeepSeek connected. Let's see what happens. So here it has sent the information. So the information is here. So already I can click to see the chat, to see a little bit the flow of information. So the psyches. Then I see that it has checked the database to know the different functions. So here I can see it has accessed the database. So I am waiting for it to initiate an action here. Well, so it is still checking, rephrasing the sentence. So this, in fact, is the request. I see that it took a little more time. So usually when I run this with OpenRouter, it's much faster. But still, so here I see that it wanted to send the information to the database. So there, normally, at the database level, that's actually it. Normally, the database, if we go check it, we will, there, the database directly, I see that it updated the information. That's very good. Now, it's writing the post on my site. So if I refresh the page here, I should actually have the article displayed very, very well. And the email, so we will see, we will come back. If I check the email, normally now I should receive the email. Indeed, the email has just been added. Here, it's very, very good. So now the whole system has been functioning well. So now I think that's it. It has finished. So the workflow worked correctly. So now I have my entire system. We will try to see in detail each piece of information, each setting to better understand the flow of information. Because once the items here are in green, I can read, see, and perfectly follow the flow of information. And so now we will start reading our workflow. So if I look here at the database level, when I open it, you will see that it has detected, in fact, the new subject. So here I see that the subject has been properly detected. So then here, of course, the information is also sent, my new information that is filled in as a global variable, because here it also detected the item ID. Because here, in the database, each row has its own ID. The system just pointed to the ID of that row, which is very important. Then, if I go there, you will see that here, and actually there is the most important print in my system. So if I want to open it, we will click here to enlarge. And there you go. So now I have my print. I will increase the size a bit to read the print better. So at the beginning, I assigned the role as an expert in writing articles. And I told him that I want you to write an article for me based on these keywords. And these keywords, this variable, of course, it comes from there. Obviously, I took this variable and launched it here to simply point to this variable. Then I gave him 4 tasks. The first task is to write an article and publish it on WordPress. Obviously, I gave him instructions to ensure it is a well-optimized article. Then I asked him as a task to send an email to the email address I put in the global variable. So if I look here, in fact, here is the global variable. So we can see it. Yes, here it is. That's it. The test email address I put. And in the end, I asked him to do the update. But be careful, I asked him. First, okay, need to check the MCP. For Notion-y tools, if I go back here, be careful, I actually put the MCP, you must see it here, so this is not a classic, no, it's an MCP that I put. First I tell him to go through this MCP, because look, if I look at this MCP, what is its output? When the agent asks us, he will check the possible tools on Notion, and you will see that here, I can find all the actions. So what you are seeing here are the actions I can perform in the database. So here, there are really all the actions, like reading, updating a database, look there. Updating, in fact, as well. Executing queries, so all the actions I can perform in Notion are here. Once it has detected that, that's when I will ask it to proceed with the action. The action is this one. And of course, in the action, it is the one that will fill in the data. It knows by itself which tools it will use. And you will see that here I asked it to update the database. I provided the database ID. Remember that we already placed the database ID here. And the item ID is already here. So as a result, these are 2 dynamic variables that are already predefined. And of course, I tell it in the no column, I want you to put the information that is here. Well, in any case, this line is not mandatory because it already exists. So I can choose not to include this information if I don't want to. So here is the column part, subject, columns, continue URL and status. There you go. I ask it to fill them in. Of course, I define the types, as I can choose not to include them. This information too, because the system can detect what the columns are, and based on the data it has received here, it is capable of detecting the properties of a database and assigning the data to each column. But for me, to make it really clear, I wanted to detail this thoroughly. And of course, don't forget that here, when you see variables here on your right, you can clearly see how it will fill the variables with the correct information. So that's what's very interesting. You can really see the correct information here to ensure that your variables are accurate. And that's what I actually like about n8n. There is this very easy readability. And also, if I go to see, for example, the flow of information, especially here at the chat level, if I click on Open Chat, you will see how the information flows. And each time we consult DeepSeek. And so as a result, it makes a specific output so that it can actually speak, allowing the agent to communicate with the different tools and actually provide them with various, for example, look here at the information that DeepSeek, or rather the agent, actually sent. And see you next time. To what we call Gmail, they are really with the information that has been very, very well filled out. This is very interesting. So as a result, if I go here, so in Gmail, the agent is there. It did what was necessary to fill out this information correctly. The same thing at the WordPress level. If I click here, look, it has filled in the title well. It has automatically filled in the content and the proof. And there, in fact, it has filled everything correctly, even in Kotata, even the status by breaking down the type, its posts, the link. It has correctly placed the link, the title, and that's it. In fact, the AI agent, the strength, look, all this information, it's the one that did it automatically. And that's what makes the system very, very strong, very interesting. So, as a result, here is my workflow with the mechanism that worked well. And here is how the information circulates. So I hope you liked this workflow. And if you are interested in taking automation even further and starting to develop automation from a blank page where I show you how to create these nodes, then visit my website here at drfiras.vip. So this site, it simply allows you to have a pack that contains all my automation courses and my training. In fact, in no code. So here you will find 100 hours of courses, and here is the list of all the training you will be able to access. And don't forget, that here you have the most comprehensive pack available today on n8n with several workflows, several practical workshops. Don't forget to enter your email address and especially here to add YT20. It's the coupon that will allow you to get a special discount. This is for my subscribers on YouTube. Be careful, it's a coupon that is very limited in time. Don't hesitate to try this coupon. You always have a 14-day guarantee when you try this package. And afterwards, you will have direct access to my packs. 2 courses, as you will see here. Each of these courses, when you click, you will first find what we call a course support to download. Afterwards, you will find, as you see there, here on the left, always the videos where you will simply click, and you will start to follow the courses one by one at your own pace. So, I thank you very much, and I will see you on the other side of the courses to start your first learning experience. Thank you.